Ireland, in the 1600s, was a land being torn apart, a place where ancient Gaelic culture collided violently with English colonization, where Catholic and Protestant fought not just over religion, but over land, identity, and survival itself. This century would see Ireland transformed from a patchwork of Gaelic lordships and Anglo-Norman territories into a conquered colony, its population reduced by perhaps half through war, famine, and plague, its language and customs suppressed, its lands seized and redistributed to English and Scottish settlers. Yet through unimaginable suffering, the Irish people endured, maintaining their faith, their culture, and their determination to survive. This was a century of rebellions crushed with breathtaking brutality, of plantations that displaced entire populations, of Cromwell's conquest that left scars still visible today. Today, advanced AI technology allows us to transform period maps, documents, and archaeological evidence into vivid recreations, bringing this traumatic but crucial century back to life. Join me as we step into the Ireland our ancestors once knew, a land of beauty and bloodshed, where the foundations of modern Irish identity were forged in fire and suffering. Gaelic Ireland. The Old World dying. Stand in Ulster in 1600, in the territories controlled by Hugh O'Neill, Earl of Tyrone, and you're witnessing the last gasp of Gaelic Ireland, a culture that's existed for over 1,000 years, but is now in its final decades of independence. The landscape is green, wet, covered in forests that will soon be cut down, dotted with settlements that will soon be destroyed. The Gaelic social structure is completely foreign to English eyes. There's no concept of absolute land ownership as the English understand it. Land belongs to the clan, allocated to families for use, redistributed when circumstances change. Leadership passes not by primogeniture, the English system of eldest son inheritance, but by tanistry, where the clan chooses the most capable male from the eligible bloodline. It's more democratic, more flexible, but it creates succession disputes that the English exploit ruthlessly. Watch a Gaelic lord's household. The Tower House, a fortified stone structure 3 or 4 stories high, is both home and fortress. Inside, the Great Hall hosts the Lord, his family, his warriors, his bards and poets. The Irish language, beautiful and complex, is spoken exclusively. The bards, highly trained poets who've studied for years, recite genealogies stretching back centuries, compose praise poems for their patron, satirize his enemies. These aren't entertainers. They're cultural custodians, maintaining oral traditions that define Irish identity. The warriors, the fighting men who serve the Lord, are different from English soldiers. They're lightly armed and armored, mobile, excellent at guerrilla warfare in forests and bogs. They raid neighboring territories, defend against raiders, and owe personal loyalty to their lord rather than to an abstract crown or nation. When the English try to impose their system of centralized royal authority, this personal loyalty structure becomes a major obstacle. Priests operate semi-clandestinely, saying Mass in secret, moving between safe houses. Monasteries and abbeys, once centers of learning and culture, have been suppressed, their lands confiscated. Yet the people cling to their faith with fierce devotion, seeing it as inseparable from their Irish identity. The economy is primarily pastoral. Cattle are wealth, status, and sustenance. A lord's power is measured in how many cattle he controls. Raids to steal cattle from rivals are common, ritualized almost, part of maintaining prestige. Agriculture is less developed than in England. The wet climate and thin soils make tillage difficult, so the Irish rely heavily on dairy products, oats, and cattle meat. But this world is ending. The 9 Years' War, fought from 1593 to 1603 between Gaelic lords led by Hugh O'Neill and English forces, is approaching its climax. O'Neill has won stunning victories, defeating English armies, besieging English fortifications, creating hope that Gaelic Ireland might survive. but the resources and determination of England are too great. In December 1601, the decisive battle occurs at Kinsale in the far south of Ireland. A Spanish fleet has landed, bringing 3,500 troops to support the Irish rebellion. Hugh O'Neill marches his forces south through winter conditions, a logistical nightmare, to link up with the Spanish. But the English commander, Lord Mountjoy, besieges the Spanish in Kinsale, forcing O'Neill to attack or watch his allies starve. The battle is a catastrophe for the Irish. O'Neill's forces, exhausted from their march, attack English positions and are decisively defeated. The Spanish surrender shortly after, returning to Spain. O'Neill retreats north, his army shattered, his alliance broken. For 2 more years, he fights on, but it's hopeless. In 1603, as Queen Elizabeth dies in England, Hugh O'Neill surrenders. The terms seem generous. He keeps his earldom and some lands. The consequences are immediate and devastating. The English government declares the departed lord's lands forfeit and begins the plantation of Ulster, the most extensive and successful English colonization scheme in Ireland. Lands are surveyed, mapped, and distributed to English and Scottish settlers called undertakers because they undertake to bring Protestant tenants, build defensible settlements, and maintain English law and customs. Watch the plantation unfold through the 1610s. Thousands of Scottish Presbyterians and English Protestants arrive, given lands that Gaelic Irish families have farmed for generations. The Irish are displaced, pushed to marginal lands, reduced to laborers on what was once their own territory. New towns are founded, built to English designs with market squares and defensive walls. Derry, renamed Londonderry, becomes the plantation's crown jewel, a walled city built to English specifications. The Catholic Church operates underground. After Cromwell, Catholic clergy are officially banished, their churches closed or given to the Protestant Church of Ireland. But priests remain, moving secretly between safe houses, saying Mass in forests and caves, baptizing, marrying, burying in defiance of the law. Catholics pay tithes to the Protestant Church while secretly supporting their own clergy, a double burden that breeds resentment. The penal laws, enacted gradually from the 1690s onward, will formalize Catholic oppression. No voting, no holding office, no bearing arms, no higher education, restrictions on land ownership and inheritance. The laws are designed to reduce Catholics to permanent subordination, and they succeed for generations. Yet Irish culture survives in the hedge schools, secret schools where teachers instruct children in Irish language, history, and Catholic catechism. The bardic tradition adapts, poets now composing laments for the lost Gaelic order and satires against the New English landlords. Music continues, transformed, the old harp traditions giving way to new forms. The Irish language persists in the countryside despite official suppression, maintaining linguistic identity. By 1700, Ireland is utterly transformed from what it was in 1600. The Gaelic political order is destroyed, the language marginalized, the Catholic Church suppressed, the land redistributed, the population reduced. The plantation system has created a Protestant landowning elite ruling over a Catholic majority, a colonial structure that will persist for over 2 centuries. But the Irish haven't disappeared or surrendered their identity. They've been conquered, dispossessed, and oppressed, but they maintain their faith, their language in reduced domains, their sense of being Irish rather than English. The collective memory of the 1600s, the rebellions, the massacres, the land confiscations, becomes part of Irish identity, passed down through generations, shaping attitudes toward England and English rule. Walk through Ireland today, and you'll see a prosperous, modern nation, but look closer, and traces of the 1600s remain. Ruined tower houses dot the countryside, monuments to the Gaelic order that was destroyed. The field patterns in parts of Ulster reflect plantation-era land divisions. The language, though surviving, is a minority tongue, spoken natively by just a fraction of the population, the result of centuries of suppression that began in earnest in the 1600s. The Irish who emigrated, driven by poverty and lack of opportunity created by colonial structures, spread Irish culture worldwide. The Irish diaspora, particularly in America, maintains connections to an Ireland many have never seen, shaped by stories of oppression and resistance passed down through families. The 1600s created the conditions that made Ireland a nation of emigrants, a pattern that persisted into the late 20th century. But there's also resilience in this history. The Irish survived conquest, maintained identity despite systematic attempts to erase it, eventually won independence, and created a thriving modern democracy. The trauma of the 1600s didn't destroy Irish culture. It transformed it, made it more resilient, more determined to survive. The century teaches hard lessons about colonialism, religious persecution, and the long-term consequences of dispossession. It shows how violence breeds violence, how grievances persist across generations, how trauma becomes identity. But it also shows human endurance, cultural survival, and the power of collective memory. This was Ireland in the 1600s, a century of conquest and survival that shaped the Ireland we know today. If you enjoyed this step back in time, please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss where we're going next. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the past.